Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you're doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. My name is Effie and today it is time for my declutters. I do an annual declutter where I get rid of anything out of my collection that is kind of out of date, a bit old, I'm not using. I want to make it clear that I'm still trying to grow my makeup collection. I'm not trying to cut it down to the bare necessities, so I will not be getting rid of loads in these declutters, but hopefully I'll be getting rid of enough to keep people happy. And time for the final part of my declutters, and probably the most exciting part. It's eyeshadow palettes. I'm very excited to declutter these. Like I said, I do a declutter every year, so there's not loads in my collection and there's not loads to get rid of, but I will be doing some swatches throughout and letting you know how I feel about each product as we go. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please do just keep on watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put up 2 videos a week and it's all makeup content, so if that sounds like your type of thing, then this is the place for you. But other than that, I will let you enjoy the video. Well, here it is, the one you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. It's time to declutter eyeshadow palettes. You can't even see everything in the frame. I think I'm going to have to take everything off the table and just bring them up onto the table as we're talking about them. There's a lot here. Eyeshadow palettes is probably the biggest section in my makeup collection. I love eyeshadow palettes. Eyeshadow is the main thing I focus on, and I don't even think my collection's that bad. Let's make a start, I guess. Let's clear the table and start talking about some palettes. Okay, I'm obviously not going to be swatching everything in this video because that would take forever. Maybe I'll swatch one shade per palette and that'll be it. This might look like a very weird selection of palettes to be starting with, but these are all the palettes that need to not be packed away. I'm moving house in 2 weeks and I will probably need eyeshadow between now and then. I'll probably only wear eyeshadow like 3 or 4 times between now and then, but I need to have the options. So let's quickly go through them and talk about why they're not being packed away. So this is the I Heart Revolution Mini Chocolate Orange palette. This is in one of my project pans, so this can't go anywhere. This is the Makeup Revolution X Tammy Tropical Carnival palette. This is also in the same project pan and therefore can't go anywhere yet. This is the BH Cosmetics Summer in Saint-Tropez palette. Again, it's in the same project pan, so it can't go anywhere because I just might want to use it, and if I keep these palettes out and they're the only ones I can use, they might get a bit more use out of them. The Wilderness palette by Beauty Bay, again in the same project pan as the others. And finally, the Lois Cosmetics Rose Metals palette. You can't get this anymore, but this is also in that project pan. So those 5 palettes are in my palette project pan. This palette is in my regular project pan. This is the Soph original palette. This is in my 3-month rolling project pan. You can find my project pan videos on my channel if you're interested. And then this one can't be packed away anywhere because I actually have to film a palette play video with it. That video will already be up, I just haven't filmed it yet, so I think I'm going to film it tomorrow. So once that's filmed, then it can be packed away. And I actually quite like this palette. This palette isn't going anywhere. I'll swatch the silver from this palette because it is stunning. There we go, that's 7 that are staying. I'm not going to be doing these in any particular order, but if I can do them in brands, I will do. This is the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. This has just come out of my project pan. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I liked this palette. We'll swatch this one here. Isn't it pretty? And yeah, I have really enjoyed using it. I'm going to keep hold of it. As you've probably heard 1,000 times in these declutter videos, my friend decluttered this and gave it to me because she's a great friend. But yeah, this is actually really nice. It works surprisingly well considering how old it is. Gonna keep hold of it. This is the Riviera Palette. I picked this up in TK Maxx, as you can tell by the sticker. I've only used this a handful of times, which frustrates me. But yeah, we'll swatch a we'll swatch a shimmer from this shade. Yeah. That's a nice blue, because this palette looks really nice, but I've just not reached for it, and every time I have, it's not massively excited me. I kind of want this to come up in my palette play videos so that I can use it and try and get some looks out of it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep hold of it, but it's not a fave and it might not last through next year's declutter. I don't really need the box, but I'm going to keep it in the box anyway. We have these two chocolate bar palettes from I Heart Revolution. This is the Lemon Drizzle palette. It looks like this. And this is the Black Cherry palette. And that looks like this. I'm thinking I'm only going to keep one of these because I don't reach for them. We'll go for Citrus, which is a beautiful coral. And then we'll go for Twizzle because I like the look of that one. I think both of these palettes are nice enough, but I think I'm going to get rid of the Black Cherry palette because I don't think that one is available. I think that was just a Christmas release, whereas I know you can still get the Lemon Drizzle one. MUA, the Tropical Ocean. I really struggle with reading that word, and I feel stupid, but I don't know. Anyway, eyeshadow palette. I don't love this palette. We're going to swatch a matte from it. Swatch the green. I love greens. Like, as you can see, it's not a bad palette. I just don't reach for it very often because it doesn't go that dark. Like, these dark shades here are all shimmers. So, yeah, I'm not... Part of me is like, just get rid of it. Because this was, I think this was maybe £8. Which isn't loads of money, so I could just pick up a new one. It's my only MUA palette, so I'll keep hold of it for now, but I might pick up a different one and declutter this in the future. We've already done one Lois Cosmetics palette, but these are the other three that she has. This is the Gone Rogue palette. You can still get this one. It looks like this. It does have a pressed glitter in it, which I'm not happy about, and I've actually not used the pressed glitter yet, but I do really like this palette. We'll swatch the green because, again, I like greens. This palette isn't going anywhere. In fact, none of these Lois palettes are going anywhere because I love Lois and I love supporting her, and I actually really like her eyeshadow palettes, particularly this one. I've only used it once, but I love the look I did with it. It's one of my favourite looks I've done this year. I have the Meet Me at Midnight palette. This is her most recent one at the time of filming. I don't know if she's come out with any more yet. But again, I love this palette. Her shimmer formula in these palettes is top notch. Let's go for a gold because Lois does really good golds. This is the Same Stars. Ooh, so it's like an old gold shade. So creamy, so metallic. Absolutely love it. Again, love that palette. It's not going anywhere. This is the Meet Me in the Underworld palette. This is probably my least favourite of the four that I have. I love the shimmer formula. This shade here, Orpheus, is my favourite gold in my collection. I adore it. The mattes, I'm not too fussed on. I just think they overblend into each other. I did do a palette play with this maybe a couple of months ago now, and I did like the looks I did, so I'm going to keep hold of it. I also don't want to break up the set. I do like it and I do still use it, but the shimmers definitely saved this palette for me. I wouldn't keep it if it was all matte or anything like that. Now we have Rude Cosmetics, and I'll be honest, these three aren't going anywhere either. This is the Lingerie Wild Nights collection. This is an all matte palette, but it's almost like a rainbow palette. But it's like a dark rainbow palette, and we'll swatch Passion. Let's go for a pink. These mattes perform amazingly. This is actually a really nice palette. I've only used it a couple of times. This is the one that came with it, is the United Shimmerdom palette, and this is all shimmers. I don't reach for this loads because it's not my favourite. Ooh, that's pretty. It's not my favourite shimmer formula, and I prefer to just use a palette that has mattes and shimmers in it. Ooh, that is beautiful. I should probably just reach for this one more as well, but definitely going to keep that. And then this one I picked up myself for my most recent testing video of theirs. It's the Roaring Twenties Reckless palette. And it looks like this. Isn't it beautiful? This shade Buzz is amazing. It's so pigmented. We're going to switch down here. It's so pigmented and so stunning. And I just need to use this palette more. I have used it a few times since the testing video, but it's amazing. Really good quality. Rude Cosmetics is just really good quality all round. These two by Makeup Revolution, these are the reloaded palettes. This is Iconic Fever and this is Neutrals 2. I've had these for so long and I think it might be time to let them go. I've had them since way before I started YouTube, like years before I started YouTube. Probably since before I even started Instagram as well, and that was over 3 years ago, so I think it's time to let these go. This palette is also going to go. This was decluttered by a friend and she gave it to me and I have not used it since. It looks really nice, but it also looks super pale, like everything is just pale. This is the darkest shade and that is not that dark. So yeah, I'm just going to let this one go. Charlie Betty Beauty, the Earth palette. I adore this palette. This was the first eyeshadow palette I think I ever got in PR. And I got this at like the start of last year, I think, maybe, I'm not sure. But I love this palette. I was also part of their More Than Makeup campaign, which was talking about like mental health. And I was really happy to be a part of that. And I really love this palette. I do need to reach for it more. Maybe I should put this in some sort of project pan next year. But it is a beautiful palette. I love greens, so it makes me very happy. This is the Technic glitter palette in Mermaid. I'm not swatching this because I don't want glitter over me for the rest of my life. This is gonna go. I normally keep hold of this because I think, oh, I can use it for Halloween. I can just buy more glitter. In fact, I have loose glitters, so I don't really need this. They are nice, I just don't need it. I never use glitter. The Revolution Pro New Neutral Romance palette. I haven't used this since the testing video, but I do really want to. I just haven't reached for it. It's very nice. I did really enjoy that video. I like the look that came out of it. So I'm going to keep hold of this and hopefully use it a bit more. It does have a pressed glitter, which I'm not interested in. But it is a nice everyday palette for me, so I think I will keep hold of it. Rimmel Magnifies Spice Edition. I don't know how I feel about this because it's not an exciting palette. I don't really care, but it worked well enough. And it's my only Rimmel palette, I think. Yeah. So do I just keep hold of it? I mean, it worked fine is the thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just very boring to me. But then I need more palettes like this for like work and stuff. So I think maybe I will keep hold of it for now. Makeup Revolution 1 million palette. This was from when they hit 1 million followers on Instagram. And if you spent over a certain amount, you got this for free with your order. And that was many years ago. That was while I was still in university, and it still works fine. I mean, that looks amazing, but I think the mattes don't work very well anymore, so I'm going to declutter this. We've already spoke about the original, but here is the Soph Extra Spice and the Soph Super Spice, both looking very beautiful. If you've watched my review of the Super Spice palette, you'll know that it's not my favourite. There's a lot of shades. Oh no. There's a lot of shades in here that I don't love. I do love the Super Spice Let's Swatch 21. Oh, it doesn't look great. It might just be the fact that I've got shades on underneath on that finger. Beautiful, beautiful red. And we'll swatch Dreams from this palette because it is my favourite shade in the palette. I love it. So I'm going to keep hold of that. I'm also going to keep hold of this mainly because I don't want to break up the trio. But I don't love this. There's quite a few shades in here that I don't love. This blue doesn't really do a lot. This lilac doesn't really do a lot. This pink does way too much. Yeah, I don't know. It's not my favourite. I actually, out of this palette, prefer the browns, which is rare for me. We've already spoke about the Wilderness palette, so we'll do the Age of Opulence and Sunset Horizons. I like both of these palettes. I haven't reached for them in quite a while, but they are stunning. Let's try zooming you out a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, I really like these and I have used them a fair amount. I have done a palette play with the Sunset Horizons. I haven't with the Opulence yet, but I do really like both of these, and Beauty Bay's formula is just amazing, so I'm going to keep hold of them. While we're on Beauty Bay, we might as well do their big palettes. This is the Bright Mattes, so this is fully matte, but it is a lot of bright shades. I really do love this palette. Obviously there's shades that don't get used as much, but there's a lot of shades in here that get used all the time. And I think eventually I'll hit pan on this, but this isn't going anywhere. Oh, I haven't swatched a shade. I think my favourite shade in this palette might be this one here. Beautiful, beautiful blue shade. Look at the pigment. phenomenal. Beauty Bay know what they're doing when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. These two are a bit newer. This is the Midnight palette. I have done a testing video on this. Go for this shade down here. Beautiful. Yep, I have done a testing video on this. Check back on my channel if you want to see it. I actually love the look I did in that video. And then we have the Earthy palette, which is greens. I love greens. We ignore the two rows of mattes because I don't care about them. I care about greens. And we'll go for this shade up here. I have used this palette a couple of times since filming with it, because if I want a green smoky eye, where else am I going to go? But I am trying to use the Wilderness palette more because that's in my project pan. But this is a really good palette to use with it to sort of fill the gaps that that palette has. So I'm going to keep all three of them. We might as well round up the Beauty Bay section with their two 8-pan palettes. There is a third one, but I don't have it and I'm not that interested in it. This is the Pastels palette and the Utopia palette. The Utopia palette was limited edition. I don't know if you can still get it, but the Pastels palette is still available. I just like using this palette to blend out my blending from other palettes. But yeah, these are really nice. I will say the Utopia palette stains like nothing else, but I do really like both of these. I'm going to keep both of them. The Makeup Obsession x Tiffany Kaleidoscopic Dreams palette. I don't reach this palette enough and I don't talk about it enough because it is amazing and it deserves to be spoken about. Swatch a orange. We haven't done an orange. This is a really nice palette, and from what I've seen on Instagram, the girl that created it, Tiffany, is amazing. She's so sweet and lovely and really nice. Every time I've shared a look using this palette, she's always liked it and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to keep hold of this. It's a really nice palette. I just need to use it a bit more. We've already spoken about one of her palettes, but this is the Tropical Paradise palette from Tammy. This was in my project pan at the start of the year, so I'm not getting rid of it because I do quite like it and I enjoyed using it. But I really want to hit pan, especially on this gold shade, because it's so close. I need to hit pan on it. And then this is her third palette. This is the Tropical Twilight palette, and I have hit pan on this shade, which made me very happy. This is a really nice palette. A lot of the shimmer shades are putty formulas, but isn't my favourite, but they work fine. Sorry, I didn't swatch one from the other one, and I'm probably not going to because I don't have enough space on my arm. But yeah, this is a really nice palette. 3 pressed glitters, which I'm not interested in, but I do really quite like this palette. Is that pan? No, we're okay. Yeah, I should really do some more looks with both of these, to be honest. Makeup Revolution Wild Integrity palette. I don't know if they still do this, but this is a dreadful palette. I really didn't like it. I've done a palette play with it. It's just not my favourite. Swatch the Lilac. Yeah, it's just really not my favourite. I didn't really like any of the looks I did in that video, so this is going to go. The Revolution Colour Book in 01, which is the grayscale one. You have a fully shimmer side and then a fully matte side with a little, like, plastic insert to stop them contaminating each other. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't use it. I got this because I didn't have many greys in my collection, and I still don't, but I just realised that I don't wear greys. That's why I didn't have them. So yeah, this can go. The Beauty Crop Pina Colada palette. I've only used this once, and that was in the testing video, and I'll admit I didn't love it. It's a fine palette. It's just kind of a bit basic. But as it's my only palette by them, I am going to keep hold of it and maybe do some more looks with it, and hopefully I'll like it a bit more. Primark Cherry palette. I think I'm going to get rid of this. It's a fully red palette, and I bought it because at the time I wore a lot of red eyeshadow. I just don't do that anymore. I don't really wear red eyeshadow much, and if I do, I have other red eyeshadows, so I don't need this. It can go. Doll Beauty I Heart Doll palette. This is super cute. I haven't used it since the testing video, but I did really enjoy it. So I think I am going to keep hold of it and try and do some more looks with it. I think the only issue is it's a fully matte palette, so I'd need to dip into a shimmer from somewhere else. But it is really cute and I should use it a bit more. The L'Oreal I Go Wild Eyeshadow Mega Palette. I quite liked this. I haven't used it since the video. You're going to hear that a lot. But I quite like this and I quite enjoyed using it, and like I said, I need more neutral everyday palettes for the office, so this is a good one. This is another one of those great work appropriate palettes. It is the Wet n Wild Coffee Cat palette. It smells like vanilla lattes, which I love, and this palette again worked really nicely. It's a great work appropriate palette. I actually really liked the look I did in that testing video, but I haven't reached for it since, although that video didn't go up that long ago, so I'm not that mad about it. We have these two palettes also from Primark. We have Flame and we have Berry, and I'm going to get rid of both of these. I have been asked to do another Primark testing video on my channel, and I will do that, but these can go. I don't even know if you can still get them, and I haven't reached for them since testing them. They're just not something that interests me, so they can both go. The Morphe 9T palette, Neutral Territory. This is a brown tone palette. My friend decluttered this and gave it to me. Yeah, we all know the same story over and over again. And this is really good quality. I quite like this palette. I think this is going to be a great everyday palette for me. I'm going to keep hold of it. I'm back. For you, that's been no time at all. For me, it's been about 20 minutes. So hopefully my battery is charged enough to finish this. We have the Be Perfect Stacey Marie Carnival 3 Love Tahiti. That all rhymes. It looks very pretty. It is out of focus though. There we go. I haven't used this palette loads. I really want to use it more. The shimmers, not my favourite. I think the mattes are amazing. I'm going to actually, from this palette, swatch one matte and one shimmer. Shimmer will go for a Starlight, and then the matte will go for Reef. I don't get that sort of pigment with a brush, which is frustrating. And that's not a great swatch of the matte. But the mattes are actually really nice. I really do like this palette, and I wish I loved it more. Maybe I just need to use it more, but it's not going anywhere. And then we have the dupe, which is the W7 Mardi Gras Express Yourself palette. It's like looking at the same thing twice. Again, I think I'll swatch one shimmer and one matte. We'll go for completely different ones though. I quite like this palette too. I think if you're looking for something like the Stacey, or exactly like the Stacey Marie palette, this is a good option, and it's a lot cheaper. I am going to keep both just because A, this is my only W7 palette, I think, and B, I think I want to do a couple more videos comparing them and things like that. And like I said, it's just good to have a cheaper option, even though I don't actually think this is that expensive. For the size of the palette, it's not that expensive, and I bought it on sale as well. But I am just going to keep both. Morphe 39L Hit the Lights palette. The only palette I still have the name sheet for. This is a nice enough palette. I'm going to swatch again one shimmer, one matte, because it's such a big palette. We'll go for this shimmer and we'll go for this matte. It's a nice enough palette. I just never reach for it. It was actually in my full face of disappointing products, because this was the first Morphe palette I ever bought, and I was expecting to love it, and I just didn't. I am going to declutter this. I think it's a nice enough palette. Also, I'm pretty sure it was a Christmas limited edition palette, so this one's going to go. But yeah, it's a shame, because I wanted to love this and then fall in love with Morphe, and I just haven't. I know I have the 9T and I like that, but I don't love Morphe just yet, and I was expecting to. Of these two little elf palettes, this is Berry Bad. These are the bite-sized face duos, and this is Acai You, I think that's how it's pronounced. I can't get into it. There we go. I have used this one in a video, and I actually quite like it. I'll swatch the matte from it. I have also used this one in that video, but I didn't use it a lot. I think these are really nice palettes. They're super cute. I also want to pick up the green one, which I think is what, jalapeno or something like that. But these are really nice, and I think these are what, like £4 each, something like that. They're very inexpensive, and I highly recommend them. They're very good quality. The Urban Decay Naked Cyber palette. My friend got me this for Christmas / my birthday, and I've only used it once in my testing video, but I really want to use it more. I'm hoping to get a bit more use out of it now that it's summer, because look at those shimmers. It's very much a use one matte, use one shimmer sort of palette. That's probably my favourite shimmer, because it has a green reflect. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but it does have a green reflect. I really like this palette. I really want to reach for it a bit more. Yeah, it's a shame. because I do really like it. But what I have learned about Urban Decay is that they used to be really innovative, really front of the pack, pigmented, beautiful, amazing. Then they got bought by like someone like L'Oreal or Max Factor or something like that, and now they more cater for the everyday makeup wearer instead of the Instagrammer. And since then I think their products became less impactful. But this is a really nice one. It's the only naked palette I've been interested in recently. I don't own any of the other ones, so thank you to my friend for getting this for me. I absolutely love it. We've got two Huda Beauty palettes here. We've got the Emerald Obsessions, which is green, and I love greens. We're going to do one matte and one shimmer because these are phenomenal. I also have the Neon Pinks palette, but I've not actually tested it on my channel yet, so I've not included it in my collection. But this is really nice. I need to reach for it a bit more. And then we have the Mercury Retrograde palette, which was in my current favourites actually, because this palette, I just want to use it all the time. Even though it's incredibly neutral, and to me that's very boring, I still just want to use this all the time. I just think it's so stunning and unique and pretty. But it's not really a YouTube palette. But I'm very intrigued by Huda Beauty. Like I said, I've only tried these two palettes. I'm not interested in like the Rose Quartz or the Naughty palette. They just don't really interest me. And none of her small ones have interested me recently because you can't get this one anymore. But I'm waiting for there to be something else that I want to get. This is the Unicorn Cosmetics Angel palette. Oh, I just love it. Every time I open it, I just fall in love with it. The shimmers are not my favourite. As you can see here, I really had to like dig at the shades because I think they get like hard pan or something. I don't know what it is. They feel like they've been pressed too hard into the pan, but I'm not sure if that's actually the problem I have with them. But they are quite nice, and this colour scheme, I don't know which matte to choose because they just all look amazing. This colour scheme just calls to me. It's everything I want in life. It doesn't go too dark, but I know that, and therefore when I go to use this palette, I'm not expecting that. But I've done a couple of looks with this palette and I really want to do some more. I just need to reach for it. I need more time to play with eyeshadow palettes. I've just finished all my exams, so I haven't had any time recently. Now that I'm finished, I can play with stuff. This is the Collection Ibiza Sunsets eye palette. This is another great everyday palette that needs to be used, but I just don't reach for it. But actually it's really good quality. It's super inexpensive. It works quite nicely. It's 4 mattes, 4 shimmers, super compact, easy to travel with. Not a bad buy. My only Colourpop palette, and this is the High Tide palette. It's one of their 9 pan palettes. I liked this actually. It's quite nice. We'll go for a shimmer and a matte. Apparently we're just doing that now. Yeah, I want to test more from Colourpop. I think at some point, either at the end of this year or the start of next year, I'm going to do another order. And maybe order a couple of eyeshadow palettes because I have got my eye on a few. And I love the packaging so much. But I'm so glad I got this palette first time round doing my order, because this is definitely a palette that I love. I've not used it since the video. But like I said, I haven't had a chance to play with any palettes. Only 2 left. This is the Artitude Cosmetics Phoenix Born from the Ashes palette. Let's open her up. There we go. I was very kindly sent this by Artitude Cosmetics. I am on their PR list now, which is amazing. I have another palette from them, but I haven't tested it yet. So again, it's not in my collection. But I love this palette. I think it's absolutely beautiful. This gold here, Eternal. There's something about gold eyeshadows that just get me, and I can't use anything else. And then we'll go for this bright orange because I actually quite like this. I have done a testing video with this and I really liked the look in it. There are also 2 duochromes. This is purple green. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. And this is blue purple. I haven't actually used these on my eyes. Maybe if I put them on my hand, you'll be able to see them a bit better. See, can you see the shift? Sort of blue purple there, green purple there. Aren't they? Look how far they went as well. They are stunning. I need to put these on my eyes. They kind of scare me a little bit, I'll be honest, but I need to put them on my eyes. This is an amazing palette. I really, really like it. I highly recommend checking it out. Also, owner of the brand, absolutely lovely. Amazing packaging as well. Really nice. And they are just phenomenal. I love them. And the final palette is the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. I've only used this on my channel once, and that's the only time I've used this palette, because I don't support Jeffree Star, so I don't really want to be like promoting his stuff on my channel. But I used it in a palette play, and I actually quite liked all of the looks I did in that. Let's do a shimmer and a matte. Yeah, I quite like this palette. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it loads because I don't want to promote him. It's just these two down here. But I did quite like the looks I did with this, and I'm not going to get rid of it. I got rid of 12 palettes, which isn't loads, but it's something, okay? I'm still trying to... I can't get over these shades. I'm still trying to grow my collection. I still want to test loads of palettes. And actually, something I found recently is that I struggle to find palettes that I want to test. So if you have any that you think I'll like or that you just want me to test, let me know down in the comment section and I will give it a go, because I need some more inspiration. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up. I'm going to let Effie do the outro, like the full long outro. But yeah, that's all of my declutters. I'm kind of exhausted now, and I now need to pack all of this makeup up and move it to a new house. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And there we go, that is the declutter video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put up 2 videos a week and it's all makeup content, so if that sounds like the type of thing, then this is the place for you. I hope you're not too mad at me for not getting rid of loads, but I'm still trying to grow my collection, and if it makes you feel any better, I've now got to move all of this stuff to a new house, which is going to be loads of fun, as I'm sure you can imagine. I'll let you go. I hope you have a great day and an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.